That's it. You're here with Ladylife and the Backstage Pass. You never know what happens backstage stays backstage. Tonight I have some special guests, some information on entertainment, music, fashion, and life. The good, the bad, the ugly. Now let's do it. Let's get right in with the Backstage Pass with Ladylife. All right. Hey, Mike, it's Taco Tuesday. I did not. Yes, you slammed it. Mike just slammed this so hard. Yes, we have Dr. Doug in the house. Dr. Doug, what's up, man?
What's going on?
How are you? Who put that on? You put the reverb on? Yo, my producer. Yo, we are not in a concert.
Not me. Yeah,
All right.
I actually did that.
Yo, all right, Doug, listen. If you're going to throw on some reverb, I could do it too. My studio's pretty freaking cool. Doug, we can do rap battles with our reverb right now. What's going on, man? How's Tuesday going for you? How's Florida? What's the degrees there?
It actually was blistering today. It was a good 91, but fortunately, it didn't rain. So one of the jokes about Florida is, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, and it will change. So it's quite nice. We quite like it here. It's very much like where we were in New York.
Yeah, shoot it
with more freedom and stuff.
It was blistering here today, too, but unfortunately we have that weird haze from the West fires still coming out this way. So it's been a little crazy. Like every day it's haze and sun and haze. It's very Miami, very Florida weather, too. So, Doug, thanks for joining us on the Backstage Pass with Ladylife. It's my honor and pleasure to have you. We have a lot to cover tonight. So just quickly, I'm going to jump in and say some shout-outs to everybody joining in. Thanks for IG Dance for chiming in tonight. My wonderful husband, as always, for chiming in tonight. Thank you guys so much for chiming in. Today's show is dedicated to my daddy. Today is his birthday. Happy birthday, Daddy, in heaven. And tomorrow's 8 years. You're with the angels, and we feel your presence every day, and we love you. So, Ronald, Papa, Chicky, this one is for you. And I have my favorite guest on for you. So, guys, if you're just chiming in, we are here live with my friend Dr. Doug Mcguirk, and he has a million other names, but that's okay. I'm going to let him tell you all about himself. But I always like to say, Doug, in the beginning, I like to let people know how we met. And I do this every week, and I forget how we meet, and then I realize that we worked together when I was, I would say, first sprocketing, and you were kind of leaving the music industry. I think you were working with Dee Snider at the time, and you were kind of crossing over into, I think you went to a Tony Robbins event, and you got inspired, and like you left, and I was like coming at you with all this music stuff, and I am going to say this to start off, and we could kind of tap back into how we met. You really inspired me in the car one day. I let you hear one of my tracks, and I remember you saying to me, Lynn, I said, Doug, do you think I'll ever be famous? Because fame was on my mind every single day. And you were like, Lynn, you got to take a deep breath. And I was touring, and I was traveling, and I was paying for everything on my own. You said, when it becomes effortless. So, Doug, this show has become very effortless for me. And I think I found my calling. I know you almost 20 years, so I found it 20 years later. So thank you for joining us today, and thank you for that.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter when, right? Danny Aiello didn't start acting until he was 52.
Really?
Colonel Sanders didn't start his chicken business till he was like in his late 60s, early 70s. So life's like a combination lock. So sometimes we've got all the numbers, we just got to put it in the right order, get the right syntax going, and you're using all of your talents. And that's not to say you're not still going to be singing and putting out music and all of that. Of course, still do what brings you joy, and you're doing what is flowing. You're in the zone. It's creating another level of energy, because now you're kind of tapped by the Holy Spirit doing it. When you're in the zone, when you're in that flow. And maybe back then I didn't quite have the language to put on the experience, but this is when the Spirit comes in.
Oh, yes. I listen, I can go through. You know what, Doug, before we keep moving on, you're maybe if you lower your mic, you think if he lowers his mic, you're breaking in and out, and it's really important that everyone hears every word you say, because you're probably one of my favorite shows, episode 17, by the way. It's just chipping a little bit every other word, and I really want everyone to hear.
More gooder?
Yeah, no, it's still chipping in.
Clipping? Yeah, so I was asking before.
Yeah, maybe if he puts in headphones,
yeah,
Mike.
No, it sounds like it's some sort of like connection issue. I don't get it.
Yeah. Look, Mike doesn't get it.
No, it's not.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think he's okay now. Yeah, just a little bit. Maybe if you, what do you think? If you put in some headphones? No, right?
No, it's not headphones.
All right, well, Doug, while you mess around with that, I'm going to do some shout outs tonight. Guys, congratulations to all my friends that have been on the show. I have to say, you guys are flourishing. Everyone that's been on this show has #1 records out. They're charting all over the place. My dear friends, Dove and Brutal Bill and Brutal. I can't wait to have you up here. And Tony D and Linda Lynn, thank you guys so much. And Lupe, DJ Caramel, and Kobe Cole, and everyone I've had on the show. You guys have all, you're just flourishing, and it really makes me happy that this is working for you. And August is the month of authors. And I have so many friends that have recreated their lives and reinvented their lives. And we all need this in this time, especially through such a serious pandemic. I thought authors was a really, really important thing. Next week we have an intuitive on. The week after we have someone that reinvented her life after her husband passed away abruptly of cancer. So this month is all authors, and I want to say congratulations to all my friends that have amazing books out. And thank you again, Doug, for joining us tonight. So Doug, let's get into the mix. We got to, hey, I just want a quick shout out. Hey Kim, what's going on, guys? Thank you guys for chiming in tonight. Like, share, and add. We are live on YouTube right now on Mix Vibes Radio. If you're only hearing the one end here, just jump onto Mix Vibes Radio on YouTube and you can watch the show live. We're also live on Twitch. We are here with Dr. Doug. So Doug, Long Islander like me, right? Strong Island?
Yeah, Strong Island.
There you go. I hear it now. The audio sounds very good. So Strong Island. So we met a little over 20 years ago, and I know we were in and out of cutting room. But Doug, before you were doing, traveling with Tony and all these other shows, tell us a little bit about what you were doing in the music industry, because that's truly how we met. We met like me sharing my music with you. I think you were working for D. Snyder, and you were kind of reinventing Black Widow too. Tell me a little bit about your story about the music industry.
Sure. So, growing up, I wanted to rock. Like, that was my passion. I always loved rock. And when school and I did not get along at all. I got kicked out of every one I was in. And when I went to college, I went for one day, and I realized this is just as bad as high school. And when I say I got kicked out of every school, I was able to graduate and so forth. They worked with me. But long story short is I did my research, and I had a band, and whatever was happening in the studio for me just didn't sound right. It never came out right. I was like, okay, well, I need to learn how to communicate more effectively. And actually this communication more effectively, it plays a pretty large role in my entire life at this stage, and it'll make sense in a moment. So what I did was I did some research, and my dad would have paid for college, and I was like, Dad, I don't want to go to school, and I want to do music. And he was like, well, Douglas, you need something to fall back on. And,
Same as my mother. You can't be a hairdresser or a singer.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. So I did my research, and it turned out that even if I had gone to school to learn music in any capacity, especially what I was wanting to do, which was production and all that, so I could just articulate and get out what was in my head and heart onto tape, it turned out you'd have to intern anyway.
Yes,
So
of course.
the-
We've all worked in the mailroom. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Everyone's like, how do you break up boxes like that? I was like, listen, I worked in the mailroom at SonicNet. Freaking, you name it. We've all, you got, it started from the bottom, now we're here. That's how it goes. If you didn't do those jobs, you're not as educated as us. Like people, all these millennials think they actually work because they're online. They have no idea what it's like to actually be in the trenches, and that's my fear of the future. So I hope you tap into the youngings as well. I don't think they understand, like, we had to do a bunch of things to get better. Like, I always had 3 and 4 jobs. Unfortunately, back then, you would say, Lynn, you're doing acting, singing, and dancing, and it's a lot. But now they want you to do all of that stuff. So I'm sure your dad was only doing that because he was afraid of your future.
Oh, absolutely. And of course, we look back, and probably there may be some things that are well-meaning, and we received it very differently, and misinterpreted it, or it was certainly interpreted in a way that was painful, as opposed to progressive or what have you, and it's all good. So, in defiance of the,
You know what, Doug? Doug, I'm gonna just Doug. I just want to stop you because the
a
phone,
job.
the audio's breaking up really bad on your end. I don't know what it is, but I don't want to keep going because I really want to. You want to? What? The producer's jumping in. Hold on one second.
Doug, I'm gonna let you log
Yeah,
off and jump back in. Like come out and then come right back in.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do a quick reset, only because I want everyone to hear your story. In the meantime, I'm gonna keep chatting, only because it's completely breaking up. We can't hear. I don't know if it's the microphone or the
I'm hearing you
audio.
breaking up too, actually. So I don't know if it's just a connection.
Oh, we both are.
Well, I'm not hearing me break up because I'm only hearing myself
Yeah, he's
through
only hearing
my
himself.
headphones. So it may be the connection. So I'm hardwired. So I will. I'll leave and I'll come back.
Yeah,
All right, Doug. All right, while Doug's leaving us, if you guys are just chiming in, you're on the Backstage Pass with Ladylife while Dr. Doug goes and has a taco. Because we're excusing him. He's going to go quickly eat in Florida a quick taco. Just kidding. Thank you guys for chiming in with the Backstage Pass with Ladylife. I just want to say thank you all for an amazing support. We've had over 20,000 viewers. This is my 17th episode, and I couldn't be even more proud of my amazing team here. Thank you guys so much. Here's my little bell. Thank you so much for all of your hard work and all the dedication and all the artists that have actually come up here. You guys are really flourishing. You make me proud every week to work so hard and do what I do. You know, New York is going through a lot right now, and we might go down through a second lockdown. We're dealing stuff with our governor. People are changing shifts, you know, the vaccines, not vaccine. Whatever you guys decide to do, play your part. That's what I say. I get tested every 72 hours. I play my part. I make sure I take care of myself. I stay 6 feet apart. I try not to go to major, large functions. I do my best to, you know, stay healthy and stay strong. I drink my amazing Celsius water, which is #1 on TikTok right now. And by the way, Celsius, the watermelon drink, is fabulous. Celsius, if you'd like to put an ad in my show, just let me know. I like the watermelon the best. Mike, you like that, right? That was pretty good. Anyway, so guys, we have Dr. Doug Mcguirk tonight. He's amazing. He toured with Tony Robbins. He has an amazing show with his wife. The Real Deal on Doug. He has an amazing book called Under Construction. We're just relogging in right now. He's live in Florida right now.
All right, Doug. How are you?
All right, I think we got him back here. We're checking out Dr. Doug.
Tell me, how's that? How am I sounding?
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
Still breaking up.
Yeah. Is that a microphone you're on?
No,
it looks like it's from 1970.
It seems to be like the stream connection on your end from when I'm.
Well, he
getting
did say it's blistering there, and when it's 95 degrees, it's probably bad.
Yeah,
If you want, I can restart everything.
yeah.
Proximo, what's up, man?
I want you to when you disconnect, just do a quick speed test on it. Go to like speedtest.net.
That's what I'm doing now.
Check, yeah. Because
I love this. I've never
flipping.
gone live. Yo, you guys are gonna get more from Dr. Doug.
I'm blazing. I got 900.
Damn, we're in the same boat. Like.
All right, so should we just keep going? It is what it is, and then you know, I don't want to slow the show down because we're killing time here. I mean, I guess if he talks really slow, we can get the information out. Dr. Doug Mcguirk. Did that sound cool? Maybe you could talk like that. Just kidding.
Let's see. I might be able to.
Oh wait, did you hear that when he sat back? It sounded.
Is that better?
Whoa. Oh my God, Luke, I am your father. That is. Please say, Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
Oh my God, it's so good. I wish it was not breaking up. That sounds amazing. For all of you live on Mixed Vibes Radio, like, share, and add. Mixed Vibes Radio. We are live on Twitch. All right. You know what, Doug? Let's keep it rolling. It is what it is. I don't want to lose you anymore. So everyone's just going to have to join in. And that was amazing. Unless you shut off all that reverb. I don't know. Oh, wait. Hold on. That sounds good. Whatever you just did.
I tell you what. Well, let's keep rolling.
All right, it is what it is. All right, Doug. So we're in the music business, and you're moving on. You worked with Dee Snider, correct, in the studio in Long Island, correct?
Yeah, so I, as an intern there, like worked my way up to become staff producer after a number of years. Started, obviously doing pretty well. We were making big records like Celine Dion and J-Lo. We won some Grammys and whatnot. And Dee started over as well. So I learned a lot about reinvention, also being friends with Dee, where I met him at his peak in the same studio, and then I met him and became good friends with him at the studio because he actually had a job as a production coordinator there because he was down on his luck. He was he had his second Widowmaker record that I was co-producer on, and he while he was there, he had written a song for his wife Suzette, and Celine Dion picked it up, and it was on her Christmas record. So back then, like if you got a song on a cut on one of Celine's records, you were like it was a game changer.
Oh, well, by far. I mean, Celine. I mean,
Yeah.
anyone that's had a residency in Vegas. I remember one time I was at. I love this story because it really, really taught me something, especially with singing. That could be cute. But I like it. Yeah, but he can call in. We might have you call in because
we won't hear him.
Yeah.
We won't see him, but
we won't see you, but we won't hear you. We're thinking about maybe having you call in. Let's just see how this goes, because I can still understand what if he talks nice and slow, we can still understand you. So it's a little choppy, but that's okay. But we can still understand you. I'd rather see his face.
that damn Florida.
No, it's that damn Florida with those damn shades. It's your shades, man. They're a different color. Well, actually, I was in I think I was in Bally's. I come out of the shower. It was like a midday. Everybody was at the pool. I went back up to shower before dinner, and I heard through the crack of the window her voice, and I thought I was hearing shit. I was like, did I drink that much that I'm hearing Celine Dion sing in my head? She was I guess it's Bellagio where she was singing. I couldn't believe the crispness of her voice. I'm talking, I was way up top. I was definitely in the 20s or 30s in the building. I couldn't believe the sound coming out of her mouth. So anybody that works on Celine anything is hands down, congratulations to you. So after that experience and getting all those big records, what happened?
Well, as you may remember, the music industry went through some tumultuous times.
Oof,
and
Napster.
The peak of my career was Napster. Yep.
Oof.
So the studios were closing, record companies were closing, A&M, which was our parent label, closed, and it was mayhem. And back then, we didn't have some of the language we have today around industry disruptors, Airbnb and Uber and these things. We didn't have that. All we had going on was like, what the F is happening here? So I had to really take a step back and figure out what I was going to do. And was I going to ride that wave? Was I going to try and force it? Or was I going to find my power? And in large part, my success in life was due to practicing what Tony Robbins was preaching. I had purchased, or my mom actually had purchased, I came home drunk one night. I was like 17. And I was like, high school, senior in high school. And I was like, Mom, give me your credit card. She's like, what for? I'm like, Tony Robbins, 30 Days to Personal Power. I need that. And she's like, oh, you have it. It's downstairs. And I'll date myself. It was cassettes. And it never been opened. So I ended up listening to that and applying it, and that's how I ended up using some of Tony's philosophies, which is modeling and so forth. So that's how I modeled the most successful people that I could in the music industry, and was able to achieve the similar success. And I share that with you because Tony got his success through teaching and using neurolinguistic programming, or NLP.
Yes, and you use that shit on me, man.
Yeah. So I dove deep into that, and that helped me as a producer as well. So I was already learning and practicing NLP with my clients and with my artists and with myself to create these great records. So when it was time to figure out what I was going to do, it's like I ended up going to a Tony Robbins event, the UPW, and at the time I was married, and things were not going well. And I was, again, going to take responsibility. I need to learn how to communicate more effectively. So that was a driver as to why I wanted to learn NLP, which is essentially the study of the subjective human experience, the structure of learning and communication. So I applied all of that, and then when it was time to I was at the event at UPW, I was like, oh my gosh, this is better than a concert. Not only is it like a concert, there's tons of music and lights and crowds, thousands of people. So that when the event was done, it wasn't just like this distraction; it was empowering. So I was like, this is what I got to do. And to make a long story short, I ended up going on the road with Tony as a national speaker and trainer. So I got all the training from Tony to speak from stage and do all those processes, all the techniques, everything that Tony does for his events, he taught us, and I'm taught by the people who taught him as well. So I was able to apply that in basically every other area of my life. So when we had our conversation and you were, getting into the right headspace, getting the right mindset, really just used some NLP philosophies to help you access your true power.
You did, and you know what, Doug? What I'm going to do is because the mic's chip on your side, I'm going to actually repeat what you just said. So briefly, if you guys are just chiming in here on the Backstage Pass with Ladylife, connection's a little hot right now because it's blistering in Florida. I'm just assuming that could possibly be it. But this is my friend Dr. Doug Mcguirk, who's absolutely amazing, who toured with Tony Robbins. He's basically explaining. Getting inspired is what's important. And when we were talking about the music, I had come to him almost 20 years ago with my music, and I was just, I was kind of doing my own thing after being a producer for so long. And he's talking about the NLP, the NHP training. It was so intense what he did to me. I remember, Doug, I don't know if you remember this part, but he did the training that he learned on Tony with me. I might have been one of your first people. Can I say yes to that? Because I remember you had just gone to the actual show with Tony Robbins, and then you tried it on me. And then do you remember after you did that training, which I explained to my girlfriend the other day, how serious it was, how emotional it was? Do you remember we were actually playing tennis one day, and I got the call from Spike TV, and I got the job? Do you remember? You were like, I told you, you gotta apply yourself. And I was like, Doug, I can't serve the ball. It was Spike TV. I got the job. And I actually did a great, I did an 8-episode show with Steve Strippa, and it was amazing. And it was probably one of the highest paid gigs I've ever gotten in Spike TV. And you really, really taught me how to take yourself out of a situation and look at yourself from another point of view. And I have to tell you, Doug, when I'm having a rough day, like today, listen, let's be honest, we all have crazy days. It wasn't the best day. It's my father's birthday. I'm missing him. Even though I still pursued my day, I went through it. You can always start it over. And when you taught me how to look at the girl looking at the TV, looking at the chair, the other girl looking, when you actually brought me to the surface and showed me who I really was, I remember leaving, I think you might have done that to me 15 years ago. And Doug, I swear to you, I remember that day like it was yesterday, because sometimes I have to go way back into my heart and remember why Ladylife was put on this earth. And it's to help others, whether it's singing, music, dancing, makeovers, helping the needy, feeding the poor, the homeless, like what you do, feeding the homeless, which you did amazing all those years. And I hooked you up with Silo, who was on last week. So that being said, after you go on tour, you learn from Tony Robbins, you started exploding on your own. Can you tell us about The Real Deal and get more into that, and then tell us about Under Construction, like maybe segue into basically what you're doing? And what I'll do is, because it's chipping on the mic, I'll repeat what you've said after a few minutes. Thanks.
Okay. So one of the things while I was in that transition period, figuring out what I was going to do with Napster and like all those crazy things, the way the industry was shaking up, I realized there were a lot of opportunities, and I realized also that I had been in the industry and met a lot of great people and had a lot of great friends, and I said, I want to do this show called The Real Deal and I'll start with the music industry, because there's so many opportunities to thrive in not only music, but in other areas. So as an example, you just shared how, you love helping people, whether it be through your music, through acting, through your shows, through hair, like whatever it is, your outcome, your purpose is to positively impact the world. And it's less about how and more about why. So what I realized was, wow, if I could do that, help people find their way within the music industry, because I had access to so many different people, songwriters, producers, artists, session players, lawyers, technical people. So I started back then like 15 years ago, and I started The Real Deal on, and then I re-released it during COVID for a similar reason, but I don't want to go too far ahead.
Well, you know what? For some reason, if you stay still, we heard that perfectly. I love you. Guys, if you're just chiming in, we have the Backstage Pass with Ladylife on Tuesday nights. Thank you so much for chiming in with Dr. Doug. We're going to quickly pay the bills. Doug, you hang in tight right there. We'll be right back. Like, share, and add, and watch us live right now on YouTube on Mix Vibes Radio. Ultimate Dance Academy. Do you think you have what it takes in hip-hop, African, modern, ballet, acting, jazz, and musical theater? That's okay. Come check us out at UDA. Anthony Borello, Artistic Director, Choreographer to the Stars. Check them out this summer. It's a summer intensive dance aid, outdoor location, and indoor. Also, make sure you check us out at Ultimate Dance Academy, 718-527-8450, located at 13895 Francis Lewis Boulevard. Are you looking for your dream home? Well, I know the guy to do it. Sean Lynch at the A-Team Real Estate Group, LLC. Licensed real estate salesperson. Office phone number 718-915-7000 or direct at 516-399-7333. Email Sean Lynch at ateamnewyork.com. Located at 540 Little Neck Parkway, Suite number 5, Little Neck, New York. Once again, that's Sean Lynch at the A-Team New York. Awesome. Yeah, Sean, Mike, Sean just ended his run, right?
Yeah, his season.
His season is over. What a great run. Congratulations to the Mike and Sean show, right? They did an amazing job. If it wasn't for Sean, I would not have this. And Mike, right? Am I the best person you've ever met in your entire life?
That's the Yin Yang twins.
The Yin Yang twins. Yo, what's up, guys? Thanks for shouting out, guys. What's up, Petey? What's up, Christina? Hello to my love at home. Thank you guys for all chiming in. Remember, when these names are flowing by, if I can't see them fast enough, thank you for Lynn and Matthias for checking in tonight. We have Dr. Doug Mcguirk, amazing book, Under Construction, amazing author, mentor, and dear friend of mine. Like I said, the reception tonight is a little chippy, so if you guys want to watch a live show, please go to Mix Vibes Radio on YouTube and Twitch. Like, share, and add with your friends every Tuesday night on the Backstage Pass with Ladylife. Thank you, Dr. Doug, for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
So, Doug, let's move into, do you have, how many websites do you have? I just want to know. Is it 3? Am I correct?
Well, I have a few. Those are all different opportunities. I have different free trainings, but Revolutionary Growth is Heidi and I's parent company.
Okay.
And then like this Mindset Maximizer is the basically how to maximize your mindset. So it's NLP, hypnosis, guided meditations, and so forth. The Freedom Hack is my foundational program, essentially creating financial, emotional, and spiritual freedom. And these are the tools in order to create that, coupled with the Mindset Maximizer, which then brings you into the Mentor Mind, which is, it's essentially a mentorship program where everyone who participates are there. They're all different levels of experience, and they're there to support each other. So we have entrepreneurs, business owners, salespeople, artists, you name it. And the purpose of that is to create a growth-minded organization so that we're supporting each other on a whole other level. It's a powerful experience where you're getting to dive into the psyche of everyone in the group and get their insights, their feedback, their resources, their referrals, joint ventures, you name it. It's there.
Thank you. You know, Doug, I'm actually just going to repeat that. So the mindsetmaximizer.com is absolutely amazing. It's a place for all of us, like all entrepreneurs, authors, writers, entertainers, whatever it is. Shout out to Gemini Caesar checking in right now. So basically, this is what it is. Dr. Doug is a really dear friend of mine who's done amazing work with Tony Robbins and traveled the country. Heidi, his wife, will also be on the show on August 31st. She's another amazing mentor. I have to tell you, these two together, I don't know another powerhouse couple. You guys pulled me through quarantine. I really want you. Don't forget, we got married and went into quarantine. So I waited 40 years to get married. And if it wasn't for you and your wife, Doug, I don't know what I would have done. So, Doug, can you, since I'm going to probably re-chip this and do some audio for you later on, too. Can we quickly get into Under Construction? I want to talk about this book because I think this is a really good place right now. I feel like you're always ahead of the time. So how did Under Construction come about? Because this whole month is about authors, and I want to talk about, this is such a, congratulations on writing a book, by the way. This is like the biggest thing you could do, you know, is write a book. So congratulations, my friend, on writing that book. Tell us about Under Construction real quick.
So the short story on that is, while I was on the road with Tony, I got recruited. Heidi and I recruited to bring personal development to a drug and alcohol treatment center here in Florida. That's how we ended up in Florida here. And essentially, we were given carte blanche to just basically redesign the program or just add what we wanted into it. We had a lot of trust in the owner, who was a Tony Robbins guy. We met him through Tony, through mutual friends. And the book essentially is sort of a case study of some of the work that I did to help people create a life worth being sober for. Because what we found was, once you take drugs and alcohol off the table, it doesn't change anything. You're still there. So whatever, drugs and alcohol aren't the problem, they're the solution. And such to the point where we shared earlier.
That's a big statement.
Yeah.
That's a very big statement, because as a hairdresser, I'm like a therapist. So for 30 years, I've taken people to rehab. I've sat with their parents. I've taken them to, I've been through a lot that way. So, but I never looked at it like, can you say that one more time? So drugs and alcohol is a solution. You're right. For them it is. But then once they're sober, it's difficult, because sometimes PTSD and a troubled childhood, and sometimes a verbal, emotional, sexual abuse is still there.
Right. Or you just have a crap life because you haven't taken care of it, right? So,
correct.
It's not always. So people can get themselves, like, as an example, right now during COVID, there are a lot of people who didn't have traumas, who didn't have, those types of things. They may have just been drinking or consuming too much, and then all of a sudden now they're working from home.
Yep.
They're, the alcohol or the whatever is a stress reliever. Well, they're stressed out at noon. So now, next thing you know, they're day drinking. And
Dude,
listen,
let me tell you, you're 100% right. I literally went into Namaste Yogi lands, and I lost a ton of weight, and I got focused during that time, because that was the first time in 21 years I did not cut hair. So some people took it as a restart, which I did, but some people, you are correct. A lot of my clients were like, by 12 o'clock. And at one point, a lot of them were on medication. You're 100% right. They were drinking, and their therapist was giving them pills. And I was like, this is not the answer.
Right. So what we found was, we gave our clients and by the way, Heidi and I also created and ran the family program. So we also were working with the families. So we had an interesting, holistic look at how these coping mechanisms were impacting the families and our clients. And so when you connect with Heidi, she went totally down like a similar rabbit hole, and she's got her books, and it's going to be, you'll have a great chat with her. But essentially the idea of the book was recognizing that we are always under construction, and we're getting detours, going to rehab, maybe a detour. COVID was a detour.
Oh,
right?
yes,
So
by far it was a huge detour by far. What's up, guys? I'm just gonna quickly shout out my boys that are jumping in. Hey, Joe, my neighbor. Joe knows PTSD. My mom kicked my ass up and down that block. Joe, you know me. What's up, Deva, Gemini, Caesar? My boys for over 20 years, and my neighbor knows me 40 years. Joe, the PTSD is from my mother, and my boy right now online could talk about that. But Doug, you're right. It's like we're constantly under construction. When I saw that name, I was like, oh shit, he pulled it out of the bag. You're right, because I think what happened, Doug, I hated, I kind of felt bad finding myself, but as you know, my mom died young, so I really didn't have that chance to reset. I had to move into her house, start over again, drop my dreams. I was on MTV, my whole life stopped. I was about to be famous, and I had to restart. And I have to tell you, until I met you, I think in my late 20s, my life was under construction. It was a nightmare. I didn't know anything about what to do, because I had to restart, and you were a really, really big part of that. that. So, guys, if you're just chiming in, Doug, we have a lot of people chiming in right now on my end. I just want to say, hey, Life. Hey, Dennis. What's up, guys? Thanks for chiming in with the Backstage Pass with Ladylife. We have Doug Mcguirk on tonight. Like, share, and air with your friends. If you'd like to watch the other side of this, just go to Mix Vibes Radio on Twitch, YouTube, also live on Instagram and Facebook. We're here with Dr. Doug, the amazing author of Under Construction and an amazing team leader for the Tony Robbins team. I want to get into a little bit more before we go. We have about 10 minutes left. If we don't want to go into meditation, you have something else you want to talk about. I know you have your other websites. Would you like to chat about how they could find you, Doug? Because I don't think we talked about that yet. How they find you on your Instagram. Ito, I swear to God, it was not me with the GPS. I'm sorry. People are logging in right now. What's up, brother? Happy birthday to your daughter, Ito, by the way. Can you quickly tell people how to reach you? Because I feel like after this, you're going to have some people that are going to reach out to you and they're going to want to talk to you. How do they find you via Instagram or the web?
So Doug6, that's DUGSIX at Doug6
Okay.
at Instagram. If you go to mindsetmaximizer.com,
Okay.
you can download a free guided meditation called it's an anxiety buster.
Oof,
So it's
perfect.
for
I'll be
people
doing
who
that tonight.
for people who are stressed out right now, because that, not to go down like a rabbit hole around the pandemic and all that craziness. I'll just let you know that the more you take care of yourself, the more that you maintain an emotional balance and you don't get sucked into the fear and the drama and all of that, the healthier you're going to be. This isn't conspiracy theory. You talk to any doctor and they would tell you stress kills.
It does.
It does. So there's all sorts of rabbit holes you can go down around other things. And the truth is that the better care you take of yourself, the less stress you're feeling, the less you're sucked into all of that drama. This is great that you're tuning in here, but turn off the news. Turn off, if you've got stuff going.
Dude, I work at the news. People don't get it. Like I am not the news. I do the hair and makeup. That's it. I get it, and I not for nothing, but my husband's into the news. Hey, my baby's on right now. Hey, baby. People that are constantly surrounded by it. I'm constantly surrounded by it, and as a hairdresser, I'm constantly a psychologist. I'm constantly helping people. Doug, there's a lot of people like me that are the givers. There's givers and takers in this life. I don't want everybody to be a taker, but there are some people that lead and some people follow. How does someone like me, and I'm not going to lie, I'm very translucent on my show. How do we smooth out? I know I have all your works from 20 years ago, which I can't fast forward and teach everybody that's just logging on now. How do we take that rough day and just start over again? Is there certain words? Is there a prayer? Is there emotion? Maybe a physical position that we sit in, resting our hands in namaste pose, in yogi down. Is there a way to do it? Or I personally say, hey, Alexa, please put on meditation music. That's what gets me out of it. That's my personal opinion.
Well, and so great question, because for each person it's different.
Okay.
So it's not like there's one way.
Okay.
Right? There's what works for you. So if meditation, but here's the caveat. The challenge is this is how drugs and alcohol becomes a problem, because if drinking works for you and then that becomes your only way to calm down and de-stress, that becomes a problem. So what we need to do is, in order for you and I to really access our true peace, is really representing ourselves to the moment now. Because right now, like if you're feeling stressed out, you're only feeling stressed out because you're you're replaying a story,
Yeah.
You're focusing on something that's either happened already,
Yeah.
You're living in the past, or you've taken that experience and threw it into the future and said, I hope that never happens again. So
Wow.
what you're doing is you actually get yourself into this temporal bind, which causes stress, because everywhere you look, you are now experiencing pain.
Wow.
So you have to remember that in this moment, I'm sure you've heard the term, mindfulness.
Yes.
Right. So mindfulness practice is really about being mindful of what is happening in the present moment. Now, you can control that present moment, as you shared. You have meditation music, so you will put on that meditation music. And
Dude, it's the only thing that
body-
saves me. There's
Right.
there's only so much pitbull globalization I can listen to in Spanish music with my husband. But you know, I have to be honest with you. I get into the meditation music, and my mother played opera to me when I was young. So I have to have a slow, and I think some of my records I've actually written to opera and written to meditation music, some of my dance music hits, because the mindset just completely transforms. And as a hairdresser, you take on everyone's burden all day. And after 31 years, I got a lot on my back. So, as being a wife, being a producer, being a director, having my own show, still being recording, people still call me for Fashion Week. It doesn't stop over here. And sometimes I just want to shut off. Is there like a 3-2-1 mechanism maybe to help people out there? Because sometimes I call it, this is what I call it. You might like this. I call it the flare button, because I love Charlotte Flair on WWE. She's like my girl. So I figure, like, when you see a fire, I'm a Leo, so my birthday's coming up, and I'm always on fire and fight or flight. I'm always burning. My energy is always going. My husband sometimes is like, babe, you're just not sleeping. You're not relaxing. And I'm like, but I'm ready to take on the world. And he's like, it's 10:30. You have to work in 3. My body and my mind just won't shut off because I want to save the world. Some people just have that. They're just a part of the earth, and that's just who I am. I want to take care of everybody all the time, no matter what I'm going through. I always want to save the world. You're also like that, and so is Heidi like that, and that's why I think we connect. Is there in the next few minutes something we could say or something we can do just to take it down a notch in the nighttime? Is there maybe a ritual you and your wife do?
Well, so mindfulness is a great practice where you just get present to whatever is happening in the room, like right there. So, you just breathe, you take and just, obviously your body, if your body is vibrating at that level, you need to calm that down. And, it reminds me of our daughter, she's 7. And sometimes, if you remember when we were kids, we could get into that tizzy where, we're just kind of losing it. It's like I kind of feel like it's what the world's going on right now. It's like a party out of control.
Yeah, totally. Me and Mike were just right, Mike. We were just
fights are happening.
Yeah, me and Mike were just talking about this. It's like me and Mike were like talking about crazy before we started the show. I'm like, Mike, we're supposed to be calm. We're having like a major like author like guy who's traveled the country, and the energy in New York is just so stressful and so tough right now. So you're saying, come within yourself, find the mindfulness, pull down the vibration, pull down that heart rate, kind of start over and I think you taught me a long time ago, you told me I can always restart my day by closing my eyes and asking God to restart my day. And Doug, I swear to God, it might be 18 and 20 years. Thank you so much for telling me that. I am not going to lie. I've done that even backstage before a performance on my tours. So thank you so much for doing that. So you basically are saying, find our center. Sit down, take a few deep breaths, find our center, log back in. You were always logging into everything else and liking and finding everyone else. So you're saying find our mindfulness, correct?
Exactly, because it's different for each person, although, you can create it, right? So if you go to mindsetmaximizer.com, you could download a free 30-minute guided meditation that will help with all of that.
Oh, it's 30 minutes. Wow.
Yeah, it's
wow.
The one that's online. You could download it.
Awesome.
So really, and there's an old saying in the good book, ask and ye shall receive.
You love that line. You've been telling me that forever. Listen, I want $1 million, Doug. Where's the money? No, I'm Doug, I'm drinking Celsius water. I'm being a good kid today.
Now, here's the thing. You will have to go out and take action to do it. So you have $1 million. We all have $1 million opportunities present to us all the time. But what prevents us from going after them is when we're in that stress mode, when we've got all these fears, these stories we tell. And that's all the work that Heidi and I do, is to help you release all those fears, live free in your true, authentic self, knowing that you are divinely guided so that you can go for whatever your dreams are, obviously, ecologically, legally, morally, ethically, all of that. And when you tap into your authentic, true divinity, when you're connected with God, when you're connected with the Holy Spirit, when you're connected with whatever that language is for what is so much bigger than what we can comprehend, but you accept it and receive, and you ask those questions like, how can I serve even more? How can I add even more value? How can I be even more present now to all the bounties bestowed upon me? How can I be even more grateful in this moment for all the opportunities that I have and that are yet to come?
Doug,
All of a sudden, you're
Doug,
not worried about that.
Doug. Now, we spoke yesterday in our briefing, and you know what's crazy? Do you remember what I told you yesterday? I swear to you, 17 weeks ago, I woke up and I told you God spoke to me. That is how I got this show. And I know you think it's crazy, but I woke up. And, you know, I told you my whole life through all my ups and downs, and I've had a very intense life. I said, God said, you're going to have a talk show. And I thought he was crazy. And I was like, oh, maybe it's Ricky Leak. What the hell is he talking about? Like Sally Field. Like, I don't know, Sally Jesse Raphael. I didn't know what he was talking about. But I couldn't figure it out. And remember I told you I didn't have a name, and I was going over the White Stone Bridge, and the sun was rising, and the sun was piercing in my face, and I was driving, and I was like, what am I going to do? What am I going to say? And Mike's like, your show's like in 6 days. You have a name? I was like, yeah, I do. It's cool, right, Mike? I was like, last minute. And I was like, yeah. I said, Lynn, what did you have that you feel nobody else had, that you are willing to give to people? And I was like, I've always had a backstage pass to every event on my whole entire life. I've randomly, my whole entire life, always wind up with Jay-Z, Eminem, Kool Herc. You name the artist, I've always been backstage. I was like, I want to bring these people into my life so they understand. So many people would see all these different things. And Doug, I have to thank you and Silo, even your wife, Heidi, because you guys mentored us when me and my husband first started dating. You know, you guys like really took the time out to go through so much in COVID. You guys were constantly online. I don't think if it wasn't for people like you, I don't think a lot of people would be around right now. I've had people that talked about suicide, that talked about depression, anxiety, horrible emotion. Some people brought back past stuff that happened 20 years ago. And I have to tell you, it almost brings you back there. So it's amazing to me that you guys, you both pulled through this and having a child. Because remember, a lot of these children are like, I don't know quarantine. I don't understand the virus. So the kids were also going through depression. And now they're finally coming out of this depression. So I totally get what you say when you say you want to restart and restructure. So if you guys are just chiming in, we're going to quickly pay the bills before we go. Thank you so much for chiming in on Tuesday nights at Backstage Pass with Ladylife. Hey, Vinny. Hey, Gerard. What's up, guys? We'll be right back on the Backstage Pass with Ladylife. Hey, man, where'd you get that shirt? I don't know. I got it from Doe Wiz Apparel. Smart way to get that money. Check them out. T-shirts, jumpsuits, sweatshirts, hoodies, and more. Don't forget to get your hot mask spring and summer 2021 with Doe Wiz Apparel. An untapped culture that says it's okay to be smart. Smart way to get that money. www.doewizapparel.com. Hey, guys, thank you so much for chiming in tonight with Dr. Doug. Listen, if you guys have some mishaps, we're going to have Dr. Doug and his wife back on August 31st. You could definitely check them out. Doug, we're going to wrap this up, but thank you so much again for tonight. And I know we still have a little bit to talk about, but we can also tag and post and all this stuff. But thank you guys so much for chiming in with the Backstage Pass with Ladylife. This is my dear friend, Dr. Doug, one of my best friends for over 20 years. Doug, I'm so honored to have you here tonight. Thank you so much. You always, you bring so much ease and so much just, it's a very natural energy when I talk to you. And I want to say thank you, because when I was touring and my mother died and I was in a crazy situation. Hey, what's up, Tina? And when I was in a dark place, you kind of pulled me out of that. And you know what? I don't know if you remember this, but I'll tell this story quickly before we go. Dr. Doug did an NLP training on me, and he told me to bring something that was my favorite. And I decided to bring a pair of boots. And I don't know if you remember this, but you told me to bring something that I love deeply. And at that time on tour, instead of bringing a picture or a blanket or something, I brought a pair of boots. And in the middle of the training, you said to me at the very end, when you made me put on those boots and march out of that room, you said, how do they make you feel? And I was like, fucking fantastic. And that's how you made me feel tonight. So for all of you watching, please go to mindsetmaximizer.com and download your free 30-minute guide. If you guys want to reach out to Dr. Doug, please do not hesitate. He's one of my best friends in the whole entire world. And if you need a restart or just to, kind of tap back into life, do not be afraid to reach out to my friend Dr. Doug that was on here tonight. Doug, thank you so much for coming on the show tonight. We will have you back. Thank you so much again.
Look, thank you, and I'm so proud of you and have so much love for you guys, for everything that you're doing, and absolutely support you 100%, and you are definitely God's blessing. So
Oh,
thank you
Doug.
for allowing me to be part of your journey.
Yeah, well, you listen, let me tell you, the rabbit hole is always there, and you talk about it a lot. You and I use the same terminology. So thank you so much for being okay to go down that rabbit hole and be serious and smart with the rest of our viewers, because everyone's going through it in COVID. So everybody, do the best you can to take care of each other. Be nice to each other. Don't forget to check out mindsetmaximizer.com with Dr. Doug. Thank you guys so much for chiming in with the Backstage Pass with Ladylife every Tuesday night on Mixed Vibes Radio on Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Doug, thank you so much. Please tell Heidi and your beautiful daughter I said hello. Thank you guys for chiming in, and we'll see you next Tuesday night.
God bless.